A Liberal attempt to oust Prime Minister Justin Trudeau appears to be futile today after the Liberal Party begins to make its case for the next federal election. The party's national campaign director made his first presentation to the full caucus this morning, one that was supposed to take place last week during a 3-hour closed-door meeting about Trudeau's leadership. Jason Gaidola joins us live with the latest tonight. Good evening, Jason.
Good evening, Manisa. More than 20 caucus members wanted to test Trudeau with a secret vote on his leadership, but the Prime Minister and his cabinet quashed that with no sign of it ever happening. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's declaration appears to hold weight today. There appears to be no signs of a secret MP vote regarding his leadership following another caucus meeting. Instead, the Liberal campaign director presented the party's strategy for the next election, a plan that was meant for last week's long closed-door meeting, one that was dominated by talks about Trudeau's future.
I believed before that meeting, and my view was confirmed, that the vast majority of MPs support the Prime Minister. They support him as our leader today, and they support him as the guy who's going to lead us into the next election.
Despite the dissent, the Liberal Party chose after the last election not to use Reform Act rules that would allow secret caucus votes to oust the leader. And cabinet members and other backbenchers have stayed loyal to the Prime Minister.
What does our campaign to get re-elected look like? And I think that the lack of detail around that, in particular with people who are putting their names on the ballot, is what's caused this sort of set of somersaults over the last couple of weeks. But that's the issue.
Talking with Bill Carroll on 580 CFRA radio, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says a change in leadership wouldn't change his election strategy, but thinks Trudeau should stay on.
I think the Liberals are morally obligated to keep Justin Trudeau. They should. They all went along, and it's not fair for them to just put on a new coat of paint to pretend like they're something different. They're all to blame.
Meanwhile, the Tories appear to have more support for another non-confidence vote inside the House of Commons after the Bloc Québécois say it revoked its Liberal support after Trudeau ignored a deadline on 2 key bills.
The tradition being what it is, Prime Minister should walk to the House of the federal government and say, okay, let's call an election.
Trudeau's cabinet called bluff on the Bloc after deeming the deadline as artificial, and a vote to topple the administration will need support from others like the NDP.
Well, does that mean that you will not work with the Bloc and Conservatives to bring down the government?
We know people are hurting right now. People are struggling right now. They're having a hard time affording their groceries. They're having a hard time affording a place to call home. I'm not going to let Pierre Poilievre, the king, cut himself, and the Bloc decide when to cut these things that people need. I'm not going to let them cut the things that people need. So no, I'm not going to play their games.
It's transactional on each and every account. There are some bills that the NDP cares deeply about. If the government stays in that space, the NDP is not going to cut its nose off despite its face. Poilievre might, but the NDP, I can assure you, won't. And the Bloc to that conversation.
No word yet from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on today regarding caucus affairs. However, Trudeau was in question period today, saying he asked National Security Services to find a way to share information with Tory leader Pierre Poilievre about foreign interference affecting his caucus. Poilievre has argued a security clearance would work as a gag order, and he dared the Prime Minister to share the names again today.